It's always just been going back and forth. My childhood was predominantly Canadian and being, or in my head, I would identify as white, whatever that meant.
So what does being Asian in North America mean to you? My dad's Chinese, my mom's white, so I'm mixed, I'm Hapa, I'm half. So it's definitely a unique position to be in within the Asian community. Am I Chinese? Am I white? But then you realize it's both.
Being Asian in North America, I take pride in that, but also I realize it's a privilege. I'm treated very differently than other folks, but there's other underlying issues. But yeah, I don't really think much of it. I'm happy to be Asian in North America.
I kind of realized that there's a very big difference between being Asian Canadian and Asian American. So for me, being Asian Canadian, especially in Toronto, I grew up in an Asian enclave with many, many Chinese people in my elementary school and many Asian people in my high school, even in my university right now. But I understand that a lot of Asian Americans, many of them grow up in Midwestern places or
a predominantly white Ohio area. I was never white enough for my white friends. And then when I would go visit my friends and family in LA, I never felt like I was Asian enough for them. So it was kind of this balance of feeling like I didn't fit into either category and having to deal with that. It caused a lot of identity issues, and luckily I've overgrown a lot of them. But yeah, it was a hard time growing up.
A little girl that lived next door to me when I was 9, we were talking about where I was from, and I told her I was from Korea, and she said, is that in China? And I said, no, it's a small country near China. And she said, no, I'm pretty sure you're from China.
One constant of mine of being Asian in North America is there's this endless search for community of people who feel like home, because there is such a vast spectrum. Like I ran a small nonprofit back in the day, just trying to get Korean Canadians together and seeing if we can all be on the same page, work towards a common goal. And the challenge of that was that everybody was a different, I guess, percentage of Canadian and percentage of Korean. So somebody would be more Korean minded than others, some people would be more Canadian minded than others, and that led to its own challenges. So I feel like part of the Asian experience in North America is this continuous pursuit of finding home, of finding community, because even if you find other Asians who were born in North America, there's a high likelihood that you might still not get along, not just because of personal differences, but because of value differences.
For me, it really has no significance because I feel so strongly with my American identity. I think with a lot of transracial adoptees, a lot of people that I have listened to tend to feel pulled between two cultures, but I have never seen it that way because I was a baby when all that happened. Of course, there's trauma that comes with it because as a child, you're going to learn different things. But in terms of being Asian, I feel comfortable and I don't really feel like I'm Asian.
I'm proud of being Asian. There's so much sauce that comes with my culture, you know. My family's from Bangladesh, although I've never been there, so I'm British Bengali. Being British gives me a lot of privileges, of course less than people who are non-Asian, I would say. If I were to be raised in Bangladesh, I know that I'd be in a worse standard of poverty. So I'm grateful to be British, but I can't say I'm proud. I'm proud to be Asian, although there are flaws and bad things that come with it. That happens with every culture, so you know.
Being Asian in North America, to me, means fight. It means a struggle. And I don't even necessarily mean that in like the worst way possible. I think, particularly for me, where I grew up in the United States, there was not a particularly large Asian American population. So for me, it was always a fight and a struggle to really claw my way out of the situation that I was in and kind of dealing with, like many of us, all the negative stereotypes that people believe. So having to build the mettle and the character to kind of fight through all of that to make it to where I am today, I think there's a lot of pride in that, and there's a lot of pride in being able to fight through those situations and those struggles. It also kind of binds the Asian American community together when you're in those particular spaces, because you know that all you have is each other, and not a lot of other people are going to be looking out for you like that. So it's definitely a fight, it's definitely a struggle, but it's not something that I would change for anything.
How have your parents' stories shaped you? It's very interesting because my parents are again very unconventional.